my background is through sort of innovation, through food products, things that help people with their diet, help them to improve their lifestyle, and also don't have impact on the environment. So a lot of the things we see in the Hawke's Bay have those opportunities as well, and there's been great innovation around that. So something I speak to is how do small businesses start and not fail, and can actually meet some of the new demands, which they are challenges, and they will continue to be challenges unless they're addressed in a innovative way. So trying to support the kind of industry that could grow in the Hawke's Bay that doesn't require necessarily huge amounts of water, huge amounts of power, huge amounts of trees as a resource, but allow the new future companies that build here and the families who come to the Hawke's Bay to be able to access the kind of tools and resources they need. And I think that's really where warm, safe, accommodated families and individuals start to create more wealth and support for our communities. Yeah. So I think that's an area that I feel that I've seen with the people I employ and the way that we deal with the living wage, and we act on issues around better health outcomes, better support for them and their families. I think if we see that in the Hawke's Bay, that means that the next generations growing up will have more opportunity and not necessarily have to leave and go to more dense communities where, let's say, there's more technology investment and support for ideas that don't require a lot of planting and pulling, which is an important category, but we do need to say, how do we plant it, pull it, innovate it, change it? And at the same time, at the other end, we've got a heavily aged community that should and will stay in our community. And so our hospital and our infrastructure around that is quite serious. And also our Māori and Pacifica, as we've seen, the way that's managed, and I think there's been 7 years of reporting around some of the issues with how our health system in the Hawke's Bay and wider can manage those. And so we need to make sure that everyone's lifted up and supported with their need, but also highlighting their need as effectively, so we don't see people dying. You know, we don't see people going worse into worse outcomes.
Obviously, you mentioned your background in that, and excuse me saying this, but you're not your typical green candidate. I mean, you just mentioned you're a business owner, and that's a little bit different from a lot of other sort of candidates. Tell us a bit about your background and how you align with how you formed your identity with the Greens.
And I suppose, first of all, too, I think that the Green Party itself is changing, and all parties are constantly changing. And what's been fascinating to me is that there are more people who work within businesses, or who run their own companies, or invest in systems that are going to help in the community with a green mindset, who are part of the Green Party. Some may not have the time to offer themselves as candidates, just that's important to say, but there are a lot of people actually, it is a very diverse party, and it's easy to say, well, you know, bloody greenies, they do what they do, and but those boxes probably don't help. But yes, I've been acknowledged even by the party at times that I'm you know, quite different from some of their candidates, but at the same time, as I think you've addressed, I walk the walk and walk the talk, I should say, because I like to follow the best outcome and the best answer. And if I look at an issue, and maybe my upbringing, I had dyslexia as a child, I sort of question things, I tilt my head to the side and think, well, that doesn't feel right. If I follow what doesn't feel right, and I have a really wonderful marriage, we question everything, our children, we share everything with them, and we come up with ideas. And if you think, well, it's fair to pay your staff less than it clearly requires for them, for example, to get by, well, you can't explain that to your children. Well, why don't they get enough? Well, because we need more, or we have better needs, or more needs, or we started the business, so we deserve more. Actually, if you rationalise it, no, it's fair to try and help your staff.
So you pay your staff a living wage?
We've paid our staff living wage within our businesses since inception. So we were a founding company within living wage because we were doing it already. It just made sense.
So what is your business?
So my original business was a plant-based ice creams called Little Island, you know, and organic ice blocks. So we started a business in Auckland that made fun summer treats, but they were healthy. You know, they had fair trade ingredients. They just did things that people were happy to pay a little more for. Yeah. At the same time, we were asking friends and whānau to come and work for us. So we would not pay those people less than what we thought was fair to come and crack in with us and start this idea. So by the time living wage came around, they said, you need to pay, I think it was $20.65, and we said, oh, we already pay $20.50. So chuck 15 cents on and we're off to the races, and we've continued that now for the best part of 8 years.
And so you're on to other businesses now?
Yes, because that's in Auckland. We moved 7 years ago to the Hawke's Bay, 5 years ago, 2017, to the Hawke's Bay. My wife has family here, and she has heritage here. I actually come from Te Atiawa, so
Yeah.
Taranaki, but been in Auckland all my life,
Yeah.
raised there. And we moved down here and the same thing. You look for opportunities, and so I'm now involved in other food, beverage, community engagement ideas that are based in the Hawke's Bay, because that's where I want to live and work, and that's where our family are educated and growing up.
Yeah.